All right. Well, a lot of you know me already. I'm Dr. Veranda Willis. I've been here at UT Tyler since 2009. The Masters of Accountancy program has been in existence since about 2013, 2014. And so it's still, it's not a baby program. We have made progress. I have been the director since the fall, right at the end of the fall of 20 May. Our Masters of Accountancy program is getting recognition statewide, and just one reason because of our pass rate on our CPA exam. And so I'm here to just tell you what our program is about, what we can offer, and hopefully answer any of the questions that you have. Our program is designed to prepare students for the CPA exam, not just to sit for the exam, but hopefully pass the exam within a relatively short period of time after graduation. And is also geared to prepare students for their chosen profession in accounting, either whether it's going to the Big Four, going into other public accounting, going into industry, or going into government. We want to make sure that you are prepared with the skills you need to be successful in your job. So if you want to become a CPA, a certified public accountant, see if I can make my screen go to the next one. You need to be able to, can you see it advance? No?
No, we're still on the title page there. I don't know why, y'all, but Zoom does PowerPoint dirty. It just, every time you try to use it, Zoom chooses the most random thing to display. Always.
Okay, I can see it going through the slides, but it's not going through the slides.
Yeah.
Okay, there it is. Okay. So you do need, if you want to become a CPA, you do need to be able to know what the requirements are for the CPA exam. Now, the Masters of Accountancy program at UT Tyler prepares you to sit for the exam in Texas. And so I'm going to tell you about the CPA exam requirements in Texas, but you can take the exam in any jurisdiction or state that you would like, but I don't necessarily know those requirements. So for Texas, I always tell students, you are responsible for your career choices and making sure that you stay up on the requirements. So I tell you, go to the Texas State Board of Public Accountancy. This is their website. You can just put in Google the abbreviations TSBPA and it should come up. Save that as a link, that one of your favorites, so you can always go there. And once you get to the website, where you want to go is qualifications, exam qualifications. And then they have all of the requirements there. Keep in mind, the Texas State Board sets the rules for being able to sit for the CPA exam, and they change. Not frequently, but they do change. They just recently had a change probably about 2 months ago. And I expect some more changes forthcoming within the next few years as well. So you want to make sure you're up on the qualifications to sit for the exam. What I'm going to show you today is the rules as of today, but like I said, they could change. You do have to complete a fingerprint process, and it's relatively simple. If you're here in Tyler, you just go up on Beckham, and there's a place where you can complete the fingerprinting process. They will do a background check. That's what that is for. As an accountant, we have to have high integrity, and so hopefully you haven't committed any felons or anything like that, okay? But they will check into all of that, okay? Also, you a bachelor's degree, a BBA, or a bachelor's degree of some kind. It does not have to be in accounting. It doesn't have to be in business, but you do need an undergraduate degree from a recognized U.S. college or university, or, you know, if you're international, your BBA degree from there, your bachelor's degree from your country. In addition to that, you will need to complete 150 semester hours of college credit. Now, when you get a BBA degree, you have to have a minimum of 120 But in order to sit for the exam in Texas, you need 150. So your accountants, you can do the math, you're going to be short 30 hours unless you've taken other courses. And most students do graduate with their undergraduate degree with a little bit more than 120, but they may not have 150. And so you may be asking, how can I get those additional 30 hours? And our MAcc program is the key. It is a 30-hour program. So the 120 plus 30 equals 150. It was designed that way. In addition, you're going to need 30 semester hours of upper level accounting courses. That means your principles courses, your 2301, 2302, they don't count. But once you get into the 3000 level classes, your intermediate 1, intermediate 2, tax, cost, auditing, those classes, your upper division accounting classes. And within that, those 30 hours, you also need 2 semester hours of research. It can be tax research or accounting research. At UT Tyler, we have those 2 hours of research in our MAcc program at the graduate level. And if you graduate with a BBA degree in accounting, you will have about 16 hours of 18 hours of upper division accounting course. And so you still need some more accounting courses, which of course the MAcc program fulfills that. And I'll share that with you in just a minute. You'll also need 24 semester hours of upper level related business courses, okay? That means non-accounting courses. Those are your finance courses, your management courses, your marketing courses, statistics, economics. In those 24 semester hours though, you can only use 2 classes, 6 hours from each discipline. So 2 finance courses, 2 marketing courses, 2 management courses. So even if you've taken 8 management courses, you can only use 2 of those to fulfill this requirement. Basically, they want to make sure that you have a good business background outside of accounting as well. Your economics and your statistics classes, they don't have to be upper division. They can be at any level in statistics and economics, but all of the other business courses have to be upper level, the 3000 level courses. Within that, you need 2 hours of business communication, and most students will take MANA 33, 30 maybe, I think that may be the number, to fulfill that business communications course. And then you need 3 semester hours of approved ethics. In our B-Law 4340 class with Ms. Coward, 4340 class fulfills that requirement. When you take this ethics class, the Texas State Board, they have to approve the class and they have to approve the instructor. So whether you take it here at UT Tyler or at another university, you want to make sure that that course has been approved and the instructor has been approved. If I taught that class, the B-Law 4340, you wouldn't get credit for it because I'm not approved to teach it. So make sure both the instructor and the course has been approved by the Texas State Board. You may be asking, how can I find that out? You can go to the Texas State Board of Public Accountancy, and they have all of the approved courses with the instructor that's approved for those under exam qualifications. So you can verify that even before you take that class. But our B-Law 4340 with Dr. Coward is approved for this. So make sure that you know what the requirements are to sit in the state of Texas or whatever state or jurisdiction you would like to sit in, what those requirements are. Do keep in mind that in order to get your CPA license, every state and jurisdiction does require you to have 150 hours to obtain your CPA license. However, some states, they will allow you to start sitting after you have 120 hours. Texas, you have to have 150 to sit and 150 to get your license. So our MAcc program, as I said, does help you meet the requirements to sit for the exam in Texas. We have our Masters of Accountancy that we call the MAcc, and we also have the IMAcc. The IMAcc is the Integrated Masters of Accountancy program here. And I'll tell you what the difference in those are in just a minute. But both of them are a 30-hour, that's 10 classes program. We are in the midst of changing our program, but I'm not going to tell you about the changes yet. I will talk about what it is as of today. With these 30 hours, 10 classes, right now, it's a 50% face-to-face and 50% online or hybrid. Obviously, in our current situation with COVID, our face-to-face classes are pretty much online or hybrid as well. And what we're moving to is probably a more online program as well. Okay. With this 10-hour, 30-credit-hour program, you may be required to take an additional class if you graduated with your BBA with less than 123 hours, okay? Remember, I told you most students, in order to get a BBA, the minimum is 120 hours. Most students have over that, and they have over 123. Because you take labs, or here at UT Tyler, you take that how to build a successful accounting career for 1 hour. Most students will have at least 121, but if you change your major or any, you may have more than 123. And as long as you have the 123, you'll take the 30 hours. But if you have between 120 to 122, you may be required to take one more additional class. It can be at the undergraduate level or at the graduate level. I can tell you more about that later, or if you have questions. Our program can be completed in 4 semesters, including summer. So if you started in summer 2020, you could finish in summer 2021. And so it goes really if you go full time. We do have small class sizes, typically less than 25 students in a class. So you get to know your students, and you get to your professors and the students that are in your class, you get to know them really well. If you went to UT Tyler as an undergraduate, you kind of already know most of the students anyway, and the professors. As I said, we have the integrated MAcc. That's where you can start taking your graduate classes while you're still an undergraduate student. So you're getting your BBA and your MAcc degree at the same time, okay? And this is only available for UT Tyler students currently, because if you're getting them both at the same time, you're typically at the same university. The CPA exam review is embedded into our program. The Texas State Board does not accept CPA review programs as credit towards the 30 hours of coursework, and so, or 150 hours. And so that's why you may be required to take that additional class, because we do have that class in our program, but doesn't count it, okay? But typically it's not an issue for most students. As I said before, we do have high pass rates on the CPA exam from our MAcc students. When they graduate, typically, even while they're in our program, they can start taking the CPA exam. And for the last few years, we've had above the average pass rate on the CPA exam. We have typically it's about a 50% pass rate for this exam, and we're in the 60 to 70% pass rate from our MAcc students, and they tend to pass on their first time in the last few years. So that's a plus. So again, the goal of our program is to prepare students to sit and pass the CPA exam, and to gain a great career in public, corporate, not-for-profit, or governmental sectors. And hopefully they're going to be happy and they give back to the program and come and talk to you and all of that. Where are our graduates employed at? If you look at this first column, you'll see these are all public accounting firms that we have graduates at. The first 4 are in Tyler. You're probably pretty familiar with those. And then we expand out to Lufkin, to Dallas area, to the as well into other areas, Palestine, and some of the other areas. So our students are at all of the accounting firms here in Tyler and Longview and in the East Texas area, as well as in Dallas and Houston. But some of our students choose to go industry, and here are some of the industry, the companies, corporate companies that they are at, or governmental. We have several students at the Texas Comptroller's Office. And then we have been able to place some of our students at Big Four companies, whether Dallas or Houston. So if you're interested in Big Four, like I said, we have the Big Four, the first for it, but we also have somebody at RSM as well. So we're trying to make sure that our students can get employed where they would like. Program, as I said, is a program, 10 classes, where there are 8 required classes. So the program is pretty structured, but you do have 2 electives to kind of balance out your program. Here are the 8 classes that are required. Some of you have already taken Income Tax 2, and if you have taken Income Tax 2 at the undergraduate level, that's one of the changes that we're currently making, is moving this class back up to the graduate level. You would just have another elective that you would put in that place. But right now we have Income Tax 2, our government and not-for-profit that prepares you for the FAR part of the exam, our strategic cost that prepares you for the BEC, advanced funds prepares you for FAR, auditing, of course, for auditing section, the theory for FAR. Obviously, FAR is the hardest part and the biggest part. And then our CPA review prepares you for FAR as well. And then our business legal for BEC. So each of the courses, the required courses, do relate to a part of the CPA exam. With your electives, you can take graduate electives in the college, Souls College of Business. There's none in accounting, so I should probably take that out. We used to have some in accounting, the oil and gas classes, but they have been discontinued. But in business law, any additional business law class, economics, finance, management, marketing, you can take those. If you do see, there's only one other graduate accounting class that's offered, and it's Accounting 5320. That class, the board will not accept, so stay away from that class. This is like Principles of Accounting for non-accounting majors, so it's not for you, okay? And the board will not accept those. Also, our AP classes are accelerated 7-week courses in the disciplines. You cannot take those. Any questions so far about the program, the classes, what the purpose is? Okay, then I'll keep moving on because I still got things to share with you. You may be asking, how do you apply and what are the admissions requirement? Well, first, you have to fill out the graduate school application. It's on the website, the UT Tyler website, the graduate school, or on the MAcc page. You just click a button, and it's a pretty simple process, the students have told me. We do require, we do recommend that you have an overall GPA of 3.0 and an upper division accounting, which includes your business ethics class, the 4340, a GPA of 3.0. Okay. Also, you have the GMAT is an exam similar to the SAT and the ACT, but for graduate school. It consists of 2 parts. It's a verbal part, English part, can you write sentences, complete sentences and stuff like that, and then a math part. But it's the math that we don't use as accountants, you know. It's accountants, I always tell students, we get to add and subtract, and if we get lucky, we get to multiply and divide. But this math is the math that you learned in high school, your geometry and things like that. And so you do want to prepare for this exam. We recommend a score of 500 on the exam. The scores range from 200 to 800. And a score of 500 is about in the 30th percentile. So 70% of the people kind of do better than that. So it's a pretty reasonable score for you to get if you have a BBA in anything. Here's the website that you can go and find out more about the GMAT and where you can register. You would want to create an account on the GMAC website, and then you can take the GMAT here in Tyler right off of Loop 323. It's about 7 miles from the university, so it's pretty close. Or they do have an online version because of the current situation as well. I see there's some chatting going on in the chat room.
It's just me. I'm providing links to our application, free study materials for the GMAT, just hammering home all of those good information that you're providing. So please continue.
What type of study materials do you have?
So the GMAT actually provides some practice exams and materials on their website, and they are free. They have some materials you can pay for if you feel that it's necessary, but start with the free stuff, save yourself some money, see how you do on those practice exams, and then you can follow up with the additional paid content or find extra stuff at Barnes & Noble or whatever if you need that. But I recommend going with the free stuff for starters for sure.
And most of you may know that you are a UT Tyler student. I do have GMAT books for you that you can check out. You can check out those books for 3 weeks. And as long as nobody else is demanding, have a demand for those books, you can keep them longer than 3 weeks. But you can come to my office and we have a checkout program there. I have about 10 sets that you can check out. So we want you to be successful with that.
So someone did ask in the chat just now if the GRE is accepted. Do you want to answer that?
Do you prefer the GMAT? We do have a calculator to convert the GRE to the GMAT, but if you haven't taken either one, take the GMAT. We prefer the GMAT. The GMAT is for business schools, and so that's why we prefer that. Any other questions on the GMAT? Okay. And then you have to provide your transcripts from all of your schools. If you were here, if you're a student at UT Tyler, we have those transcripts already. You don't have to provide those again. But if you went to another school, you would need to provide those. What are optional are resumes, personal statements, references. You can include those in your packet if you want. And I would encourage you to do that if you don't meet the other requirements. So if your GPA is not a 3.0, either overall, or at the upper division accounting is not a 3.0, or if you did not score over 500. Those are our recommendations. That doesn't mean that if you hit that, you're in, or if you don't hit that, you're not in. When you take the GMAT, if your GPA is not a 0.0, I have to write a personal statement. I will normally ask you to do that, or you may want to send references. Again, it doesn't mean that you're in or out. We look at the whole package, okay? So you can always include those. I do always like a resume because I like resumes of our MAcc students. But if you need a personal statement or reference, I'll let you know, okay? So again, let me know where you're at. I tend to also meet individually with each of the applicants once they get all of their information in, so that I make sure that I have a good understanding of where you're at and what your goals are. If you're interested in the integrated MAcc, you will not complete your application yet. The first starting point is to send me an email and to let me know that you're interested in applying for the integrated MAcc, and I will instruct you on how what you need to do from there. But that's pretty much the application process. Any questions on the application process? Okay, so for the integrated MAcc, as I said, we call it the IMAcc here. You do have to be a UT Tyler undergraduate student to be admitted into this program. You will take all of your you have to take all of your upper division accounting courses here at UT Tyler. So you can't take one someplace else and transfer those in. You can normally do that, but you won't be able to get into the integrated Masters of Accountancy. All of your upper division accounting courses have to be taken at UT Tyler. The big thing that you need to remember about the integrated Masters of Accountancy is that you are earning both your MBA, your BBA, and your MAcc degrees at the same time. So you are delaying your BBA degree until the end of the program. Okay, but you get them both at the same time. You take your classes, and you get to balance your classes out between undergraduate and graduate classes. It's the same admission requirement to the iMac as to our regular MAcc. So what we just went over, the 3.0 overall, the 3.0 in upper division accounting classes, but you can apply for the integrated MAcc once you have taken or while you're in intermediate 2, okay? And that should be your 3rd upper division accounting class. You could be taking cost or another class with it, but when your 3rd division accounting class and you're either in intermediate 2 or in that you're in that semester, you can apply. Send me that email saying I'm interested in the iMac program. One thing that's different with the integrated MAcc is you may be able to get a GMAT waiver where you don't have to take the GMAT if in those 3 accounting classes, upper division accounting classes, you have a 3.6 and your overall GPA is a 3.4. What your overall GPA, you can kind of look on your transcript and you can get that. But your the 3.6 in upper division accounting classes, what that means is you in those 3 classes, you have to have A's or better, all A's, which is a 4.0, or you can make 1B. So if you have more than 1B, then this would not be applicable to you. And then upon an admission to the iMac, things that you need to be aware of, you are considered an undergraduate for 4.5 years. So if you have scholarships or financial aid for undergraduate, you get you're still considered an undergraduate. So you're paying undergraduate tuition, even graduate classes that you take while you're in this period of time. In your last full semester, you will then apply for admission to the graduate program, and then you will pay graduate tuition for your last semester when you're a full-time student. Typically, that means of those 10 classes in the MAcc program, at least 5 of them will be at undergraduate rates, okay? But we do have to give the graduate school some money, and you have to be a graduate student in order to get your to graduate from graduate school. So usually it's the last full semester, and then there may be a semester where you're taking 1 or 2 classes in your last semester. What are some of the advantages of the iMac? You can begin taking graduate classes while you're taking undergraduate, taking graduate classes while you're taking undergraduate classes. So if you go back, if you remember the classes with the screen with the classes on it, you saw that our graduate classes are offered 1 time a year. And they had, what semester they were offered. Let's see if I can go back there. They're offered 1 time a year. The Tax 2 doesn't have a semester because we're trying to see when we're going to fit it into the program. But what that means is, if for some reason, if you didn't take strategic cost management in the fall when it came around, if you were in your MAcc class, that means you're going to have to wait till the next fall to take that. Okay, and that could extend your program. But with the iMac, because you're in the program, you're going to always have 2 falls, 2 springs, 2 summers. And so even if it gives you flexibility so that you can spread your classes out. And so that's a big advantage to the iMac program. It also allows you to take most of your graduate classes at undergraduate processing, and you could get the GMAT. So there's some financial benefit to the iMac program, and then the flexibility with the classes. Questions about the iMac or the regular MAcc? Okay. So then you may be saying, well, how can I afford the MAcc program? And our our program in accountancy, the Texas State Board, they are committed to making to getting more CPAs, and so they have a 5th-year scholarship. They know that they have required these additional 30 hours, and so they have also provided funding for that. And again, at the Texas State Board, where you were going to look at the requirements, there was another link there for scholarships. So go to the scholarship link and you can get the application there. Each school, the Texas State Board awards them funds to distribute to students who meet the requirements. It is on a need-based, first come, first served basis. So if you're interested in this funding, you want to get your application in as soon as possible. The lifetime maximum for this award is $7,500, and the minimum award per semester is $1,500. You do have to complete your application of intent in order to get this funding. The application of intent is also found on the Texas State Board of Public Accountancy. And this is just you're letting the Texas State Board know that you plan to sit for the exam in Texas within 2 years. Okay. I tell students once they're admitted to the MAcc program that they want to fill out their application of intent. Another purpose of the application of intent is you have to give them your transcripts, and so they will compare what you have completed on the requirements, and they will send you back and say, of the 150 hours, you have 130. Of the 30 upper division classes, you have 24. So everybody's on the same page as to where you're standing to meeting the requirements. And then you can make sure that you know what you have left to do. And the last thing that it does is it locks in the current rules. So remember I told you the information was such a change and that the board could change the requirements. Once you fill out your application of intent, you're locked into the rules at that time. And so it's not like it's a moving target. So you think, okay, this is what I have to do. I have to have 150 hours, and then the board changes it to 160. Okay, if you don't have your application of intent, you're going to fall under that new rule. So that's why I tell students, go ahead and fill it out, especially if you're planning to complete the MAcc in about a year, so that you know what your requirements really are. You do have to complete the FAFSA for this award as well, and that's the full link to the application. But again, you want to complete that application as soon as possible. Other funding opportunities that we have the UT Tyler has a new graduate student fellowship, and I'm going to let Brittany talk to you about that.
Happy to. So the new graduate fellowship is available to graduate students in their first semester of study here at UT Tyler. So if you are not a current UT Tyler student and you're not interested in doing the MAcc, the integrated program, it would just be that first semester that you're admitted to the graduate school and enroll. If you do the MAcc program, you would apply for the new graduate fellowship called the NGF around here in that final semester that you're actually admitted into the graduate school. It is a $1,000 award. It also grants in-state tuition waivers to anyone who is not a Texas resident. So instead of paying out-of-state tuition, you would pay in-state tuition. And to be eligible for that scholarship, you would need an undergrad GPA cumulative of 3.25 or higher, or a GMAT score of 500 or better. Either one, not both. If you have a prior master's degree, we could also look at that GPA as well. So any one of those 2 or 3 things would be able to allow you to apply. We try to award as many students as possible. If you are eligible and you apply before the deadline, there's a solid chance that you're going to get it. Can never make any guarantees because our funding pool changes, but there's a really solid chance that you would receive it. You do need to be admitted into the graduate program before you can apply, and we do have deadlines. So for the fall, the application deadline for this award is typically May 1st of the same year. For the spring, the application deadline is typically October 1st. Those are on our calendar, so just when you're ready, make sure that you're checking on that deadline and following up with your application as quickly as possible. We do not make awards in the summer, it's just fall and spring, and you must be a full-time student to be eligible to continue receiving the award. And last little thing is that it is potentially eligible for renewal in your second academic year. A third if one comes around, but for this program, probably just the second option for renewal there. So yeah, that's the new graduate fellowship. Any questions about that? Cool.
Okay. So we also, other funding opportunities, we also have graduate assistantships. These are not guaranteed and they are limited. So if you're applying for the program and you would like to work as a graduate assistant, that's typically assisting professors with the undergraduate classes, being a TA or something similar to that. You'll need to let me know. And like I said, it's not a guarantee, it's very limited, but we do need a graduate assistant. And then other scholarships that are just available are listed here. We have the AICPA, their deadlines are typically around April 1st. Again, you can just Google AICPA scholarships and it'll come up. The Texas Society of CPAs, the East Texas chapter, they offer scholarships every spring semester. The deadline is typically early to mid-March, and you can go to their website and download that application. The National Association of Black Accountants have scholarships, and then the Souls College of Business at UT Tyler, right now they're in their scholarship process, and the application deadline is November 15th for the spring semester. So if you haven't applied, I would encourage you to apply. And if you go to that website, it'll have the deadlines for the fall and the summer sessions as well. So there's money out there, other scholarship offers besides these. I just wanted to give you some sources here, okay? The other thing is once you are accepted into the MAcc program, I have a Canvas organization for all of our MAcc students, and that's how I communicate with you. I remind you about graduation deadlines, registration deadlines, any scholarship applications that I am aware of, employment opportunities. We talk about elective courses there, whatever questions that MAcc students might have, you'll get added to that Canvas course there, just so that we have a space where we can communicate. And that's all that I had to share with you. So if you have any questions, anything that you would like for me to expand, I'm here to answer those questions, Brittany and I.
And while we wait for those questions to come through, one final thing that I wanted to add is the estimated total cost for this program. Since it is usually face-to-face, but with some online, I can't give you an exact number. Tuition and fees change every year, and it does depend on the format. But if you enrolled full-time and you were a Texas resident, the estimated total cost for this program is somewhere between $16,500 and $17,000 for a Texas resident. That'll change just a little bit. We never really get a giant decrease or increase from year to year, but I would estimate around that amount if you receive no funding whatsoever. So just putting that out there to help you prepare.
Can you tell them about the application fee for applying?
Great segue. Thank you very much. So our application fee for the graduate school is automatically waived for any current UT Tyler student, any student actually who's ever taken a class at UT Tyler. The application fee is waived. However, some of you may not be returning UT Tyler students, so we are waiving the application fee for everyone that's joined the webinar today. So I do have to put a time limit on that, and we have our current application available for spring of 2021, summer 2021, and fall of 2021. So anyone that applies through Monday at midnight is the cutoff. But for anyone who's here, I have all of your names. So we will automatically apply that fee waiver, saving you $50 to $75.
So when they apply, it'll ask for payment. So do they need to do anything with the payment?
Yes, it's going to ask you, there is a payment page and there are instructions there that just let you know, choose check, don't pay. Just choose check. You don't have to follow up with us. We process all of our applications by hand for the best possible service. So I will provide our application processors with your names, and when they see your name come through, they will take care of it for you. You won't have to do anything except choose check and submit.
Okay. There was a question, how long does it take to complete the program if you're full-time? A lot of our students are full-time, working full-time. And when you're working full-time, we do recommend that you take 2 classes, no more than 2 classes a semester. And so if you already have all of the undergraduate and the prerequisite, and you're just going into the program, you can complete it in 5 semesters, taking 2 classes at a time. Most students, what I'm seeing now, they go ahead and go full-time and get it knocked out. And that's what we encourage. And we also encourage you to take the CPA exam, start taking the CPA exam in your last semester if you can, when you're taking the CPA review. Students are scheduling their first section right after that CPA review. And I think that's one reason why we're having such great pass rates on the CPA exam. Obviously we haven't had a physical graduation in a while, but like the last graduation we had, several of our students had passed all 4 parts of the CPA exam. They didn't have their license because maybe they didn't have the work experience yet, but they had passed all 4 parts of the exam. Any other questions? Anything that wasn't clear? Anything?
Yeah, this is David. It's been about a year since I emailed you. We may need to do this offline one-on-one, but I already got an MBA. I know I got to check my emails, but the whole reason I want to do a master's in accounting is I used to teach adjunct at a college, and now that they are requiring more accounting upper level, that's the whole reason I'm doing this. And I guess you and I just need to email again, because my company will pay for me since I am a plant controller for a manufacturing company. And I'm planning on retiring in about 5 to 7 years. So when I retire back home to Alabama, I do live in Longview. And, you know, I'm going to go into teaching again like I used to.
Okay. Yeah, this would be perfect for you because you do already have a master's degree. You can get your application and the GMAT waived for you. There are some other waivers for the GMAT. If you already have your CPA, you already have a master's degree from an accredited university, there are some GMAT.
Yeah, my MBA came from the University of Richmond in Richmond, Virginia, so I know they're accredited. But would any of those classes sent me out of anything that's required in your program, since I already had some graduate level classes? Or will I still have to take the same number of classes?
You would have to take the same number of classes.
Okay.
Did you take any upper division accounting classes before?
Just in my MBA, I took 1 semester of upper level graduate accounting.
I don't think you can apply, if you applied that class to another degree, it can't count towards another graduate degree.
Yeah. All right. I guess I just need to go on and submit my application. You know, I can talk offline because like I said, you know, this isn't about the CPA. This is about allowing me to be able to teach again, since a lot of colleges now requiring, you know, master's in accounting or at least so many hours of upper level accounting. So that's the whole reason why I'm pursuing this.
Okay, and we can talk offline. As with anybody, if you have other questions, we can talk offline. Any other questions for me?
Selena asked in the chat, same question, could previous graduate courses from a different master's degree count as elective? And just to clarify, no, we can't double dip with courses. If you've already taken a course from the MAcc degree plan exactly, they can substitute out a different elective for you or something. Dr. Willis will work with you to give you something that works for you, so that you're not just retaking the same old course. But we wouldn't be able to use any other different courses. We wouldn't be able to double dip with those degrees. They have to be new. So.
Any other questions?
I have a question if I could.
Yes, sir.
I'm one of the rare students that is not getting a bachelor in accounting. My degree was in agriculture. So my biggest question is with the elective courses, the 5,000 level classes that are not accounting, because there's not any accounting electives. I'm not sure that I'll have prerequisites to get into those classes.
Typically, there are some classes where you don't have prerequisites. They're kind of called the leveling classes for the management and marketing students, kind of like, the accounting 5320 that I told y'all to stay away from because it was principles for non-accounting majors. There's some classes in management and marketing that's like that too. And so you would be taking those classes.
Okay.
But, and we can definitely work with you and make sure that you'll
Okay,
get.
because my degree was in agriculture, so all the marketing and management classes I took weren't actually in the business school. They were in ag school, so they don't transfer well. Nobody wants to call them the same thing.
We'll work with you and get you what you need.
Okay, and then one more while I have you. The 24 hours of upper level business courses, does the B Law ethics course and the management business writing class count for that?
One of them does, one you can't double dip.
So, okay, that's kind of what I was thinking. Because
And I
from
don't
what
know-
I look at, I can only come up with 6 or 24 hours if I use both of those. But so
But even at the graduate level, if you take your graduate electives.
okay, no, I didn't consider that.
Mhm.
Okay, well, I'll come to your office one time and try to figure it all out and make sure I'm not missing something.
Okay. That's why we also have those electives if students need additional courses to meet the 24 hours.
Okay, because I have lots of hours, just not hours that really qualify for what they want.
Any other questions? Anybody curious as to how we may be changing the program?
I am.
Okay, I may have to tell you, stop recording now.
Okay, actually, I'll go ahead and do that just in case it doesn't come to fruition. No one's confused.
Yes.